Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to reset the ORA green bird's nest colony I have here. It's just gotten way too big. It's crowding out other corals and I need a little bit more room. So let's do a full reset and start fragging. Stay tuned. So I originally picked up an ORA green bird's nest frag back in May of 2023 when I first got my tank. Initially the coral did really well. It grew quite fast and it looked really great. And then after I added Kalkwasser to my tank, I noticed the tips got burnt, polyp extension went down, and so the coral took a turn for the worse, I suppose. I even got some algae on the tips. So I took the Kalkwasser back offline. I suppose it could have just been some alkalinity swings, and so I just took it offline to simplify my system, and the coral rebounded. At this point, which is probably 3 or 4 months into the coral being into the system, it really started to blossom. It grew quite fast into a nice golf ball size mini colony, and I was just really happy with it. And I've always loved this coral. But as of today, the coral is just it's gotten to the point where it's bigger than a softball but smaller than a basketball, I should say. My tank just isn't quite large enough to deal with it in its current state. As you can see here, it's kind of crowding out and blocking a sunset millipora, and I got an F-flow off to the right that's getting really close to it, and I've fragged this up a little bit, just the tips here and there, but I think it's time to do a bigger reset and go another 3 or 4 months before I have to touch anything again. And also you can see it's fully shaded my ACAN, which actually isn't a bad thing. My ACAN doesn't need a lot of PAR and it seems pretty happy. So I'm not too worried about that. However, it may be nice to kind of open that up a little bit. The other problem with this, if you're looking at the tank towards the side, is the colony is getting pretty close to the glass, which makes scraping the glass, cleaning the glass a little challenging. You can nick the coral here and there, and that's okay too. But I'd like to open it up here a little bit, and I think it would help with my flow also for some of these other smaller colonies that are just getting started. So here we are getting prepped to do the reset and some fragging. I've got my shoulder length gloves that I'll use just to put my hands into the tank. And those, sure, they protect me, but mostly they protect the tank. They protect the water. I don't have any, risk of lotion or oils from my skin getting into the water. I know these are clean. I use them often, and it just kind of saves me having to worry about that. I also have some smaller gloves that I'll use to handle the coral as I frag it up. I have my bone cutters that I'll be using to trim things down, and a little turkey baster, if you will, to kind of base some water onto the coral if it's out of the water, out of the tank for too long, just to kind of keep things wet. I find that kind of helps, so you can take as much time as you need to get things trimmed up. So after I get all my supplies kind of ready, and the glue ready, and the towels out, and things like that, I turn my pumps on to feed mode. I want the flow down quite low as I pull this coral out. Now this particular SPS coral does not encrust, hardly at all. So I'm just going to wiggle it gently out of its position. It's got 2 touch points that I use to glue it down. And so it comes out quite easy, so it makes it nice that you can pull this colony out and frag it up, unlike other SPS corals that encrust quite a bit. Now here I am, I've got the colony in a little Tupperware space here, and I'm just going to take it and start doing quite a bit of trimming and get it down a little smaller in size. So here I am. I'm going to speed up the video here because this may be quite boring, but we're just giving a nice haircut, if you will, across the top of this colony, getting that top trimmed down to give us a little bit more space for the corals that are behind it on the rock work, and give me a few months of time of growth for this colony to regrow. So that's kind of the first goal, is just to get that top trimmed down really well. So at this point, the coral, it's been absolutely destroyed, right? It looks like it's been destroyed. It's been out of the water. It's been out of the tank for a while. So I'm just going to Get it moist, put some water over it again with the turkey baster, maybe a spray bottle. I've seen people use spray bottles before, just to give you some more time to play with things and look at it, and to prepare myself to get ready to start trimming a little bit more onto the sides. So at this point, I'm no longer clipping, but now just chopping or whacking at the colony here, just to get it down a little smaller, give me some more time for it to grow out. And then I'm going to flip it upside down here. You see my two touch points there that touch the rock. You can see where I've had glue on there before. And I'm just going to prepare the colony again to put on some more glue and get it attached back to where it was. So here I am, again we're speeding this up. I'm using some dollar store super glue gel. Putty may be good too. People use putty and glue to kind of really help things set and settle in and easy to attach to the rock. But this is all I had on hand, so I just used some super glue gel. Once I got that loaded up with those two touch points, I brought it back down to where it used to live. And we're trying to get the colony here back to where it was and reposition it. Hold it there a second and give it some time to reattach. And the flow at this point is still in feed mode. I've kept the flow down low for the glue to set up and things to kind of attach to the rock before we turn it back up. And next here I've got some little tiny frags that have fallen off the colony during the procedure. And we're just gonna pull those out and keep things somewhat tidy. They'll blow around and land on corals and cause a little bit of trouble, but not too much. I just like to pull them out. No reason to be in the tank still. So here's the aftermath of the procedure. All the clippings or small frags are now in this container, which you could give to friends or sell or whatever. Another option may be just to cut the colony in half, and you'd have a bigger, chunkier mini colony you could sell or swap to a friend. That may be a better option than doing the haircut type reset. And here's how the colony is looking now. Not pretty, not beautiful, but let's give it 2 or 3 weeks, get some color back and get some growth tips going, and I think it shouldn't look too bad. Now, if you got your hands in your tank and you're doing this kind of heavy amount of fragging and disturbing the system, look around. What else can be done? So I looked around. I have this hammer colony, mini colony. It's gotten pretty close to some other corals I have. And so I'm going to blow it here with my baster, get those polyps to sink in and protect the colony a little bit. And I'm just going to move this mini colony over a little bit to give me another 2 or 3 months of time before I have to worry about it again. So look around, and when you're in your tank like this, use it as an opportunity to fix other things. And you can see here I gave myself a couple more inches, a little bit more time before I have to worry about these particular corals touching each other. So here we have a full tank shot. That bird's nest colony got trimmed up or reset quite a bit, a decent size haircut. I'm thinking next time I just keep a small golf ball size mini colony of it and just kind of cut it in half, if you will, and give it to someone. That'll give me a little bit more time before I have to trim up again, but this time I think it'll be okay for the next 3 or 4 months. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Take care and happy reefing.